So this is the Coworker page. Think of it as the front door to AI-powered work inside your organization or team. This is where teams can discover and use agents, workflows, apps, or dashboards built by your internal builders. All the orchestration and backend logic stays behind the scenes. For end users, it's simple. Open Coworker, find what you need, and get work done. For example, maybe there's an onboarding form with some date pickers or drop-down lists, or maybe an invoice analyzer workflow where you upload or drag and drop a file, perform some actions in the background, emails you later. Or maybe it's just a dashboard or web app that updates weekly and gives you informational content. These are all exposed on the Coworker page with interfaces. So let's jump into that. When you create an interface, Pinkfish gives you 3 different patterns to choose from. First, there's form input with simple confirmation. This is great when users submit information and just needs a success state or acknowledgement afterwards. For example, I have this simple workflow. I asked to create a form with some inputs and then put the data into a Zendesk ticket. Pinkfish interpreted this and created the simple interface form input with confirmation. You can see my simple preview of the form here, and when submitted, runs the workflow and just gives me a generic submission message. Second, there's form input with results. This is form input with a designated result. In this case, the user submits data and gets a generated result back, maybe a report analysis, recommendation, or some generated HTML content. For example, we have this invoice analyzer workflow where we could upload an invoice, and then it runs through this workflow to do some AI analysis on the PDF and then flag any items that are over $500 and send me an email. So I can see in the interface tab, this is my form input with results. We get a preview of what it looks like with the form input and my designated result. So here we get to select a particular node and output. In this case, I'm outputting some HTML content that summarizes the invoice analysis. Lastly, we have results viewer. This lets you expose workflow outputs through a clean dashboard or viewer experience, so users can consume results without ever opening the workflow builder. No forms needed. For example, we have this weekly GitHub development progress dashboard. You can see here it gathers some information from GitHub, creates this dashboard, and then I'm using the output viewer where I'm simply, again, designating a node and output to be shown here. And so once published and shared with my organization with either run or manage access, run is usually fine to be able to use all these workflows or apps, then they will show up on our Coworker page here for anyone to use. So one simple example of me running one is the invoice analyzer. I particularly like this one because you get to upload a file. It's not just uploading or inputting text or information. It's making it really easy for me. I'm just uploading a file. I'm not having to do any manual input. The workflow works behind the scenes, extracting invoice line items and flagging things and generating a report. So when that's ready, it'll expose my designated output here and show it in a nice user-friendly format. And that's Pinkfish Interfaces, a simple way to bring you workflows and user experiences into one connected system. Instead of stitching tools together, you can now build both the backend automation and the front end in one place.